Hear the line and you instantly know the movie and the man. Say hello to my little friend, Scarface. I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. Godfather, too. The man, of course, Al Pacino. His latest movie, Danny Collins, premieres tonight. So we're sitting down with the Oscar winner for a rare glimpse inside his career.
From the moment you meet him, you can see it. The old school charm, the youthful mischief twinkle in his eye.
I'd read you'd be trouble. Scarf, covering the microphone. Are you always this high maintenance to talk to?
I try to avoid it at all costs, but it just keeps following me. How do I look?
Honestly, you look slightly ridiculous.
Nah.
At age 74, we get to see Al Pacino get in trouble on screen again. Tonight's opening of his 48th movie, Danny Collins, Pacino plays an aging rock star.
A cross between Rod Stewart and Barry Manilow. So he was the love child of that.
A feel-good romantic comedy with a Pacino we have never seen before.
We haven't seen me do this at all. I sing, for one thing.
You sing?
I try to.
Hey, baby doll, what's going on?
For almost 50 years, on stage and on screen, when Al Pacino tries to, magic happens.
Well, where am I gonna go?
Serpico.
Stay away. Where am I gonna go?
Heat.
Brother, you are going down.
The movie that launched his career and almost ended it. The Godfather.
They wanted to fire me when I was on the picture.
They wanted to what?
Fire me.
My father made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
The producers hated Pacino's version of Michael Corleone, he says, thinking he was too soft. With encouragement from director Francis Ford Coppola and actor Marlon Brando, the 31-year-old Pacino turned it around.
He said, I have a guarantee. No more attempts on my father's life.
The restaurant scene.
There it is. The restaurant scene is what kept me in the picture.
From a viewer's perspective, it was you went from being a nice college kid
Exactly right.
to a badass.
That was the turning point, yeah.
Al Pacino, badass.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, of course.
Years later, he took badass to a whole new level as Cuban drug lord Tony Montana in Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend.
The accents was very important to me.
You know what I'm talking about, you cockroach.
To have an accent that wasn't literally the way they speak, but a manifestation of my imagination of how they speak.
For young Alfredo James Pacino, growing up poor in the South Bronx, raised by his mother Rose, who introduced him to the movies.
We would go to the movies, and then the next day she'd go off to work. I'd be in the house, and I'd remember the movie, and I'd enact all the parts. Quite a deal to get into this place.
A high school dropout, his passion truly became his profession when he enrolled in New York's legendary The Actors Studio.
We had Montgomery Clift, Marlon Brando, James Dean, Paul Newman, Marilyn Monroe, etc. I can't stop name dropping, I'm sorry.
Pacino seemed an unlikely candidate. His audition, a disaster.
When you first tried to get in, they said, nope, don't want you, kid.
Yeah, they usually do that, by the way, because they want to see sometimes if you have incentive.
After several nominations, Pacino finally won the Academy Award's Best Actor in Scent of a Woman. This deliciously gifted actor, a near mythic figure to his fans and his peers, is surprisingly small in stature.
Someone once said, you know, they saw me and I said, he's shorter than I thought. And the other person said, I didn't say this. I said, you should see him when he's standing on his awards. Can you imagine that? That's just, oh.
It ain't bragging, you can back it up.
Despite an Oscar, a Tony, 2 Emmy Awards, Al Pacino simply sees himself as a working man who happens to act.
Why so busy still?
And I have young kids, too. I don't...
Kids gotta eat.
They gotta eat. The kids gotta eat. As a survivor, you make everything work.
Survivor.
I am that.
Survivor, you gotta love that. It was American actor, teacher, and director Lee Strasberg who said of Pacino, some actors play characters, Al Pacino becomes them. Our thanks to Mr. Pacino for his time and his talent. So what's your favorite Al Pacino movie? Head to our Nightline Facebook page and let us know in the comments.